turns on, there's a couple things. First thing that is very important is the laser. So the laser is separate from the machine. It talks, they talk to each other, but they each have their own brain, basically. So the laser needs to know that it can stop the machine in case of an emergency, because the laser is there to protect you. Okay. So the first time, this is every single time you turn the machine on, you have to do this process. So this is something that you definitely need to remember. After the machine turns on completely, this is the screen that you'll get into, and the program that will be open is the last program that was active. Okay? So in this case, this is a new program that we haven't done anything to. So we can just use that if we want to. So on the left here is all the tabs, all the menus for operating the machine. Okay. So at the very top, I'll go over the laser in a minute, but first I gotta explain all of these. So on the top, we got workpiece. If we touch this, then you can see it has a picture of a bent part. Now that's just to illustrate what the machine is talking about. So in the workpiece tab, you can tell the machine how thick it is, how thick the material is, and I just noticed your machine is set up in millimeters. You like millimeters?
Yes,
Millimeters.
Metric.
Metric.
metric, yeah.
Yeah. You like it? Yeah. You want to use metric?
It don't matter, yeah. We could use, we
You
don't.
see how it looks.
Let's set it to inch.
Yeah,
Es que, ¿cómo van a venir los papeles?
Most of the people chooses inches.
Oh yeah, of course.
Juan, ¿cómo
I
van a
choose
venir los
millimeters.
papeles? ¿No
Oh,
tienen
inches.
metros?
No, inches.
Inches.
Yeah. What
Inches.
decimals?
Yeah, no, I was joking.
Oh,
I'm not gonna leave it to
No,
millimeters.
you work in John.
All right, so you can, for example, you can tap what you want to change. So you can see I tap the thickness of the material, and it's allowing me to change the thickness. If I change that to 070, for example, then boom, it's 070. All right.
okay.
So, but this needs to be, so fractions are, the machine doesn't support fractions, so you have to tell it
Decimals.
Decimals, yeah.
Okay.
I think you could actually go 1/8 like that, and it will take it. Yeah, it will take it. So this is an example of what you were talking about before. So I told the machine I want to bend 1/8" material,
Right.
1/8 of an inch thick.
Right.
Now, if I want to do that in the next tab, so you can see it turns red, right? If I tap this arrow right here, or the exclamation mark, or this one right here, it will tell me that the V opening is too small. Okay? So, yeah. So if I then go to my machine parameters, then I can see these are the tools that I'm using. I'm using a bottom tool with a die width of 1/2 inch. That's a V opening of 1/2 inch. Ideally, you would use 1/8 of the V opening as your material thickness. Now, if you think about it, 1/8 of an inch thick material times 8 is 1 inch. So you would need a 1 inch bottom die to bend 1/8 of an inch material. Okay, so that's only half that, so that will require way too much force to bend it. So that's a no. Don't do that. So now I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna change it to what it was. So this material is 060, so that's what we're gonna work with.
Cool, what you got right now.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now the material, I can tap this right here, and it will give you the list of. It will give you a list of all the materials that are in the machine. Now I assume that you guys are gonna be working with regular steel,
Yeah. Galvanized steel.
galvanized.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll select galvanized right here.
Yeah.
Just like that.
That's it.
So you can either double tap it or you can tap it and hit OK. And now we're working with galvanized steel. All right? Okay. So then after the thickness, you can also set the width of the plate, and that's how wide you're going to bend.
Okay.
So in my case, with the pieces that you cut, that was 10 inches.
Okay.
Right?
So, but we always gotta set all the time how wide we gonna bend, right?
Approximately, yes.
Okay.
Within an inch.
Okay.
If you do it within 1 inch, that's more than enough. You don't need, you don't need to be any more specific than that. So if it's 20.75, then you just say 21, and
Okay.
it's fine.
Fine.
One more question. What happens if we set up the machine, like let's say you put carbonized steel, right? And I don't put the right metal on. Like
So
steel.
the difference between mild steel and galvanized is not going to be that big, but if you plan to bend stainless steel with it and you set it for mild steel, it will most likely not bend it.
Oh, okay.
Because stainless steel is a lot harder and requires more force to bend,
Okay.
so the machine will only push as hard as is necessary.
Okay.
So if you set it to stainless, for example, it will bend anything. You can put mild steel in there and it bend it. But the machine will also calculate for stainless, so it might go a little too deep. So you have to keep that in
That's why you
mind.
have to adjust.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I suggest selecting the right material, but if you mess it up and it does what you need it to do, it's not that big a deal.
Okay.
All right? So that's with the workpiece. So that's
Okay.
the piece that we're working with. Very simple.
Okay.
Next up, we got the machine information.
Okay, machine, yeah.
So in the machine information, we got top tools, bottom tools, and then if we scroll down, we got top and bottom tool adapters. Now it is very important that you select the right setup in your machine, because if you don't, the machine will try to go where it can't go. Okay? So right now, because there is no top or bottom tool adapter selected, the machine is gonna think that this bottom tool is actually sitting all the way down there. Okay, so if I run a program with these settings, but well, it's not true because there is a bottom tool adapter in there. If I run the program like this, then the machine is going to go down fast until it sees this tool. It will make an emergency stop because it doesn't want to go fast if it sees something, and that's the laser doing that. Now, if you then let go of the foot pedal and push again, then the machine will think, okay, everything is okay, I can keep going. And then it will keep trying to push deeper than what it's allowed to do.
Right.
And it may damage your tools in the
Yeah,
process.
yeah, pressure,
Yeah, it will break something,
I'll
I
break
can,
that.
I can tell you that.
Okay, you said it doesn't have, but yet you still got.
Yeah, so now I have to select it.
Oh,
So I
Also,
can-
every time we turn it on, we got it to the machine and it got an adapter and everything all the time.
No, once you make a program,
Uh-huh.
that all this information is for one program
Okay,
only.
okay.
So for every program, you will have to set it.
Oh, okay.
But once you take the program to make something, it will already be there. So you will not have to redo it. You
Okay,
only
okay.
do it once.
One time,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So you can either use the arrows or you can tap it.
Uh-huh.
And this is the other adapter, and this is the adapter that's in there.
At the bottom, so you press the, okay, so
So-
you already got it in the system already.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's already all in there.
Yeah.
All the
It's
It's
information
only
is
for
there.
checking everything is correct,
Yeah.
yeah?
Well, you have to select it if you're making a new program,
Oh,
and that's what
okay.
we're doing right
Ah,
now.
I see,
Oh,
I see.
okay.
Okay, so you can either, again, you can double tap it or you can select it and hit OK. So if I double tap it, then now my bottom tool adapter is in there.
Is there.
Okay, and you have to do this in the beginning of the program.
Yes, sir.
All right. You have to do this before anything else. Okay, so that's the machine information taken care of. Now the machine knows what's in it,
Yeah.
because if we don't tell it, the machine doesn't know. Okay. Next up, we got depth. Okay. Now is when we start working in this first manual step.
Okay.
So the machine is going to use the same tools and the same workpiece across all steps, or in most cases across all steps.
Uh-huh.
And now we're dealing with each individual step. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine what kind of angle we're looking for.
90-degree angle.
Right.
Okay.
So, but you can select different angles as well.
Okay.
Right.
Or like say like we want to go like 45 or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Okay.
Yeah. But if you want a 45-degree angle, which is this,
Yeah.
right? You actually have to tell the machine 135.
Okay, 135, okay.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it's
we-
the other side
Yeah,
of the
well,
scale.
we're really not gonna be, there's nothing but 90-degree angles, that's all we're gonna be doing.
Okay.
Not but 90s, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So to do that, you would go into the depth. Just trying to keep an eye on the time, and you would set the bend mode to air bending.
Bend, okay.
Air bending is very simple. This will be the standard mode, so you don't have to.
Set for air bending, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's already set for air bending by default.
okay.
Right. So then you tell the machine what angle you're looking for. In
Okay.
this case, that's going to be 90. So
Okay.
we're going to leave it at 90. We're not going to touch it from there from that
Okay.
point forward. Now, force the crowning. Yeah, the crowning is going to be important. So the crowning, that's this piece right here.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what crowning is?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Yeah, you-
So when you're bending very long plates, especially the thicker plates, but when you're bending very long plates, the machine is going to come down, the ram is going to come down like this, and even though it's a solid piece of metal, it will flex a little bit.
Okay, so
Okay.
you want it to come all the way straight down, like together.
Well, you can't do that. So the machine will always flex because there is a cylinder on this side and there is a cylinder
Yeah, I
on the
think
other
when
side.
it comes up, it goes like that. If it was doing that, like, oh, come on.
Right, but that has nothing to do with that. So because the machine flexes,
Yeah.
we will counteract that with the crowning table. Okay, so the crowning table will do the same thing but opposite.
Okay.
And then if you bend something, it will come out straight. It will come out with 90 degrees across the board, right?
That kind of helps it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I'm telling you
Okay.
this, because it's important, because you can adjust it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay? So if the machine calculates it and you see that it's not quite right, then you can always adjust it if you need to. Okay? So you can add adjustments to it. So you see the machine calculates for 5/1000ths of crowning. Now if you think that you need more, then you can add a correction to that.
Okay. That's it. We first we gotta run apart to see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're good. Okay.
Right. Then next up, you can also, by the way, if your angle is not exactly 90, then you can also make corrections right here.
Why does it
Okay.
say current is this one? Shouldn't it be here too?
Right.
The current?
So the current is what it is right now.
Okay.
Right now, the machine depth is at -10, but that's not right. That's because we haven't taken reference yet.
Yeah.
But this is the current position of the machine. This is the target position, and these are corrections that you can give.
Okay. Yep.
All right. All right. Next up, we got cycle.
Cycle.
In the cycle mode, we have a position chart, a speed chart, and a time chart. Okay.
Okay.
In the position chart, you can set the fast slow point, the clamping point, the depth you cannot change right here, the decompression, and the top dead center. Okay, so what do these all mean? When the machine is coming down, it's coming down fast first, and that it's going to come down fast until it hits the fast slow point. The fast slow point is always above the material. So if your material is sitting on the bottom tool, the fast slow point is going to be measured from the top of the material.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And then
So-
when it hits there, it's gonna
Slow down.
slow down.
It's not going to hit it. It's going to stop before it hits it and start going slowly before it comes down.
Okay.
To reach
Because
to
you
that
don't
point.
want to hit it
Right,
at a
right.
fast speed because
Right,
that's very
right.
dangerous.
Okay, so it stops at a certain level and then it
Yes.
goes
And
up
that
to-
certain level is the fast slow point right here. And you can set that.
Okay. How will we find that fast slow point?
It sets it automatically. You don't need to find it.
Okay.
Okay.
But you can change it if you want to.
Okay, okay.
So
But why would we want to change it if I already said it right? Why? Because sometimes the machine's
sometimes
not.
you need to change it.
Sometimes the machine's not
Yeah.
right.
Well, the machine is not all knowing.
Okay.
You need to give it more information sometimes.
Okay.
Or sometimes the machine thinks that it's doing something right, but you say, no, I can do it better, and then you can change it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, again, the machine has two speeds. It comes down, it comes down fast first, and then goes slowly, okay?
Okay.
The moment that it starts going slowly, that's the fast slow point. That's number one. All right. Then the clamping point is 0. Again, this is above the plate, so the clamping point is going to be touching the plate.
Okay. I see.
So when the ram, the top tool, is touching the plate, that's the clamp point. Okay. And you can also change this, and I'll explain later why.
Okay.
All right. But the fast slow point is basically that's a standard of 0.4 inches. That's a good number to start with. You cannot go lower than that, but you can go higher than that.
Okay.
So if you want the machine to come down slowly the whole way, then you can change this to, for example, 5 inches.
Okay.
And then the machine will go.
The
from
higher you
five-
go, the slower it comes down. The higher you go, the slower it comes down from the top, right?
It's not it's not gonna come down slower. That's something else. That's in the speeds.
Okay.
But the
Oh, stop at a certain point, like boom.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you can either have it start going slowly at 0.4
Yeah.
or 1 inch or 2 inch or 3 inch. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So then the clamping, the decompression. So when the machine is building up pressure, it also needs to let go of that pressure. And that happens in the decompression distance. And that's what this one is right here. So the decompression distance is basically how far the machine goes up to release the pressure. Okay? If you're dealing with a very thick plate, but I don't think you guys are gonna bend
No,
very thick
nothing but
plates.
60 gauge.
Right. So I might turn that off then. That's basically how fast the machine releases that pressure. And if you hear a loud bang after you bend the part, that means there is too fast of a decompression, so you need to slow it down. But-
just slow it down by breaking the 16 lower or breaking it upper.
So if you want to slow it down, then you want to increase the distance.
Okay.
So you want to give it more space, and then in the next menu, you want to decrease the speed.
Okay.
So you want to give it more time and more space to get rid of all that pressure.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then TDC is another important one. This one will be standard at about 3.5 inches, and that's again above the plate. So this is your reference point, but you're gonna have your material on top of that. So everything in this menu is measured off the material, not off the bottom tool. Okay? So we're measuring from here on up. Okay? And that 3.5 inches is gonna be how high the machine comes back up after it's done bending. So after the machine bends your material, it needs to come back up, right? And it's gonna come back up to the top dead center, TDC.
So when it comes down, do you set the pressure when it comes down to a certain
Yeah, we did that right here. So that's
With the
right,
depth,
right
yeah,
here in the
with the
depth.
yeah.
We told it that we're air bending, and we told it that we want a 90-degree angle.
Okay.
So then you can see depth left and depth right.
It's
Right
already
here.
made.
This is the target. So the machine is not going to go any deeper than that
Okay, so you do it with the material or without the material?
with the material. How are you going to bend
Well,
it?
I mean, on the old, you do it without, you come to a certain,
This is not
that. Okay, this is upgraded.
Yep.
Okay, it's
Much
automatic.
easier.
Okay.
You
no
just
problem.
tell it what you need, and it will
And
give
it
it to you.
automatically will adjust to it. Okay.
Yes, sir. But
Okay.
you have to give it the right information.
I understand.
So
Yeah.
if you give it the right thickness,
Mm-hmm.
the right width,
You'll know what.
if
how
you
much-
tell it what top and bottom tool, what adapter you're using,
Mm-hmm.
if you tell it what angle you're looking for, if you give all that information correctly, then it will give you a correct result.
Okay.
That's what you can see down there.
All right. Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Excuse me. So we got the top dead center. That's how high the machine comes back up. Okay? And then the speeds, usually most speeds will stay at 100%. But if you need it to go slower, then you can change that right here.
To what? To 120
Why do you?
or what?
No,
I
to
mean-
lower, no, go down lower.
No. To how on the speed? How do you control the speed then?
So you have the fall speed,
Okay.
you have the closing speed,
Okay.
the work speed, and then the up speed.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
There is not much reason to change any of
We
these.
should just leave it alone.
Really?
Leave it alone.
You can
It
just
should be-
leave it at 100%. But
Leave it alone.
But if you have a plate in there that's really, really long,
No. Right.
if you
need
do it
time.
at 100%, that's gonna go
Oh,
really
yeah,
fast,
uh-huh.
right? That's very fast. Now, if you like your chin, then you might wanna change the work speed,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
So if you bring the work speed to, maybe the first time you bring it to 20%. So you change this, instead of 100%,
Go 20%.
you change that to 20%.
Oh.
Then the machine is gonna go real
Yeah, I
slow.
was thinking the opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you go 120, then you're asking it to go faster.
Yes, I was going the opposite way. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you tell it 20%, for example,
Yeah.
it's gonna go down real slow,
Real
right?
slow. More
It's gonna
than-
come down. At the fast speed is that's the falling speed. That's still 100%. So
Yeah.
it's still gonna come down fast.
Mhm.
But then the work speed is gonna be a lot slower.
Ah,
so
okay.
then your machine will go down very slow when it's bending the material, and that gives you time to
To raise it up.
manually help the plate
raise it
up.
up.
Because if it's a really thin plate, it will bow.
So
You
only
have time for
recommend it when
for
it's-
everything.
Oh, it doesn't really matter.
It depends on you.
Okay.
If you're badass and you want to go full speed, then you can keep going.
Without losing your chin.
Well, that's up to you, man.
All right, John.
So
All right.
that's where you change
No
that. So
problem.
if you need to
Okay.
go slower, that's in the work
Oh,
speed
that's
right
what I was
here
talking about, yeah.
in the cycle menu. So I'm going to change that back to 100.
Okay.
There we go. And then this is also the decompression speed. All right. All right. And then times, you got the dwell time and the pause. The dwell time is how long the machine will stay in the bottom position before it comes back up. The reason you want to change that, normally you would leave it at 0 seconds, because as soon as it's down, it's done, and you want it to come back up.
Right.
Now, if you have a material that's really annoying and it always jumps back to a different point, then you can increase the dwell time to let the machine stay down there for like a second or so,
To
and then
really
come back up. Yeah,
keep
to
it
really
tight.
hold it in that position before coming back up. This is only if you see a difference between one bend and the next. So then you can increase the dwell time a little bit and allow the material to form more rigidly before it comes back up.
The only way I would see that if the thickness of the material is played off. You know how it's supposed to be 060, sometimes the material.
That will not do anything.
Won't do it? Okay.
No, that will, if the material thickness is different, that will not make a difference.
Okay, okay.
Okay?
Alright.
And the pause is if you have multiple steps. Now we only have one. If you
Right.
have multiple steps, the pause is how much time in seconds the machine is going to wait before going to the next step.
I see.
For example, if your first step is at 20 inches and your second step is at 2 inches, then the machine is going to go close by. So then you can put a pause in there, let's say 2 seconds. That gives you time enough to get the plate out before the baggage comes in.
I see. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Okay, okay.
So that's where the pause. See, all your questions, they're being
Yeah,
answered.
yeah.
All right, so that's the cycle menu.
Okay.
All right. Next up is another important one, is the axis menu.
Access menu?
All right. So in the axis menu, you have 4 axes on the baggage.
Okay.
All right. You got X, R, Z1, Z2. With the baggage, when these are the 2 fingers, X is back and forth, R is up and down, Z1 is the left one, and Z2 is the right one. Okay?
Okay,
So you got X, R, Z1, Z2.
So you want to move both of them, or you want one at a time?
X is back,
Yeah, X is back and forth.
back and forth, okay. R is
R
up and down.
is up and down.
Okay.
It's up and down for the baggage,
Okay.
not for the ram.
Right,
The
right,
ram is
right.
Y1, Y2.
Okay, yeah, just for the stops.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then
X-
the
X is
other
back
one
and forth,
is
okay.
just individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, my x-axis
R.
is going to position to all the way in the back, 38 inches. My r-axis is at 6.5, which is level with the tool. And then Z1 and Z2 are gonna expand to
So C1 goes to the left and C2 goes to the right, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, Z1 is the left one, Z2 is the right one.
okay.
All right. So this number x is going to be measured from the tip of the tool. So back and forth, that's from the tip of the tool. That's where your bend line is going to be. So if you look at this, if I set x to 1 inch, then my back gauge is going to come right here. So my back gauge is going to come right here. My machine is going to make a bend line right there. 1 inch. If I tell the machine 1 inch, so if I tell the machine 1 inch, just like that, then my bend line is going to be at 1 inch. And this is very important to remember because if you need, let me grab another plate. I got one back here. So if I need the dimension from this face to this face to be 1 inch, then that number is not going to be 1 inch because I have a radius that I need to keep in account, and I also have the material thickness to keep in account. Okay?
Yeah.
Now later in the formal training, I will explain you how to do all of this
Okay.
very easily. But if you do it manually, this is manual.
Okay.
If you do it manually, you have to calculate all of that.
Oh, yeah. So
So-
we don't really need to mess with that, with the axis right now. It really, we
Yeah,
just,
I'm just showing you
Yeah.
where
Okay.
everything
Basic,
is
yeah,
because
basic,
it's
basic.
important that you
Yeah.
know where
Yeah, 'cause-
everything is because you will have to make adjustments at some point.
at some point, right?
Yeah. So if you want this is now half an inch. If you want this to be half an inch, then your x-axis is going to be at 0.44 or something because the material thickness is 0.60, right? So that's the minimum that I'm going to have to change to make this half an inch, right? So I'm going to have to move 60 thou because that's the material thickness, and that's going to be added to the outside of the bend. Now, if I was measuring to the inside, that would be different, right?
You need a conversion.
Yeah. So it depends on where you're measuring. So looking at the drawings, I'm measuring everything on the outside, so that's what I did.
Okay.
Right? All right, so once you have everything set in here, so Z1 and Z2 are gonna depend on how wide your plate is. Because if you have a 10-foot plate, you're not gonna leave them very close together. You want them far apart. And then the R-axis is just how high it is. That's gonna be to make it level with the machine. Now, not only that, if we take a look right here, the R-axis can not only, so you can see these fingers, they flip up. So if you accidentally get something underneath, they will be protected, unless you get it real far, then you will still do damage. But the X value, the number for X, is always gonna measure from the tip of the tool, so in this direction, to this face right here, the first one. Okay? Not this one, this one, right? So not this one.
Okay.
Not this one, not this one, but this one.
That one's where you.
Exactly. Right. So if I'm butting up my plate and my baggage is sitting where it's sitting right now, that's not going to be correct. All right. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't work, because the machine knows where this is. So when we get to the automated way, when we make a drawing and stuff like that, we can tell the machine, I want to use this face and not this face.
Okay.
All right. But now in manual mode, we have to tell the machine that.
Okay.
Okay, so if we want to use this face, then we have to tell the machine, okay, R-axis needs to go down a bit and X-axis needs to come forward, because now we're using this.
Okay.
So to do this manually is very impractical. It's not very practical. So we're going to do that in the automatic mode. We're not going to worry about that in the manual mode.
If you don't put it in the right phase, the machine won't go, or it will stop, or do
In the right
anything?
phase?
Yeah, like you said, like.
No, the machine doesn't know what you're doing in it.
Okay, so you gotta put it in the right spot.
Yeah.
The only thing,
Yeah.
the only thing that's gonna happen, you're just gonna have a messed up bed. It's not gonna be a
Exactly.
right bed.
Yeah, you're gonna, if you don't do it right, it's not gonna be right.
Yeah, the bed's not gonna be right.
Because the
Yeah.
machine will go, right?
Yeah, and if, well, the machine will do everything that you tell it to. It's not a very smart machine.
Okay.
It can do a lot of things, but only if you give it the right information.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, if you tell the machine to dance, it will dance, but it
Yeah,
will only
yeah,
do
tell
the
it.
dancing that you tell it to,
Yeah, tell it,
right?
It's a woman.
All right, so once you make a program, this will be grayed out, the target, but you will always be able to give it corrections.
Okay.
So if your program is completely made and you need to make one little tweak to it,
Yeah.
then you can do that in the correction tab. And you can save that correction as well, so you don't have to do it every time.
Okay.
You had a question?
Yes, sir. No.
No. All right. So, and then here is also where you can change the baggage speeds.
Okay. How
So-
fast you want it to move. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you,
even if it's automatic, you can change it there.
Yes.
Go to that precision, then.
Yeah.
And then what will you do? Save it or?
yeah.
or-
Well, I'll show you how to save
Oh,
it.
okay.
But we're not there yet.
Okay.
So the speeds right here, you just grab the slider and you change it to whatever, and then you can see it shows you which ones it is. So if I select this one, it's going to show you the X, which is back and forth. It shows you what it is. And if I select R, then it's going to show you the arrows for up and down.
Okay,
And
okay.
then Z1 is only this one, and then Z2 is only this one.
Okay.
Mm,
See? It makes a lot of sense that way.
Yes, sir.
The computer told you.
Right? So that's like
access.
this is how you would set up a basic program. That's the very basics. It's you can use this, and then in the sequence you can tell it to insert a step after or before. So if I insert a step after, then now you can see we have 2 steps. Okay? So now I can go to step 1 or I can go to step 2. And if I change something in step 2, let's say I make this 2 inches, and I go back to step 1, you can see that changes.
Okay.
So in step 1, I'm doing a 1-inch bend. In step 2, I'm doing a 2-inch bend, and that's the only difference right now. But I can change everything.
Okay.
So I can go into my depth, and I can tell it I want 135-degree angle,
Oh.
and that's in step 2. So in step 1, I'm bending 90 at 1 inch, and in step 2, I'm bending 135 at 2 inch. So every step you can fill out everything. So you can change every single parameter in every single step.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And that's the very, very, very basics.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to explain, but I can see
That
We
time.
restart.
One question I was gonna ask you.
Yes,
The-
sir.
Okay, the crowning, for the crowning, when you're sitting at 90 degrees, right? First you set the, we go to, okay, that's air bending, then we go to angle 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go to that, right? And then, but when you set the crowning,
Yes.
yes, what?
So let me show you how that works. So if I change this back to 90.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. So now I'm bending 90, but what's very important for the crowning is my workpiece.
Uh-huh.
So this is also
So-
why it's important to get the right information.
Uh-huh.
Let me show you before you have any other questions.
Okay.
Let me show you what happens. So I have 60,000 material.
Uh-huh.
All right, and I have, let's say, 40 inches.
Okay.
Right, 40-inch wide piece.
Uh-huh.
If I go to depth, it's going to calculate the crowning for 5,000.
Okay.
Okay. Now watch what happens if I change this to 120. So a 10-foot piece.
Mhm.
Right. I got 10 feet of material. Now if I go to depth, you can see that changed to 13.
Uh-huh.
You see? So the machine will calculate how much it needs. Right. So the
Okay.
crowning will go up a little higher.
Okay.
So you remember the thing I did? So the crowning will, instead of going this, it'll go this. Go a little bit more.
Help it out
Yeah,
a little
help it out a little more.
Okay.
And then the reason that you want to change it is, let's say you bend your part and it's going to be 90 on both sides, but in the middle it's still open. It's not 90. Then you can tell the crowning, okay, go up a little bit more. And then it's going to go a little bit higher
And it should be all.
and give you a little bit more
Okay.
help.
Okay.
If you do it too much, then it will overbend. Very
Yeah.
simple.
Okay.
So you find the happy medium that way.
Yes, sir.
And that's what the crowning is. And what was your question?
No, that's what I wanted to know, how far the crowning, like, you know, if I had to move the crowning with like for like that, because I know when it bends, it might not bend all the way through the same way, but now that I could set the crowning for it to bend all equal at the same time.
It
Yeah.
should always bend the same angle on
Yeah,
both
both
sides.
sides, yeah.
But the middle, if the middle is different, that's when you change the crowning.
Instead of like the old time, put
Yeah.
put
With the
cardboard
shims,
or something.
that is
like-
auto shim.
Right, there we go. There we go. That's a lot. Now you gonna say something about those lasers real quick?
Yeah, but I can show you. Yeah. So let's do initial startup for the
Okay.
machine.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna change the axis to be at 5 inches, so it's not coming too close.
Mhm.
So I don't have to worry. I'm gonna bend 90, and yeah, that's all good.
Okay.
So once I have my program set up, let's say I'm gonna make a new program, right? I have it set up. I'm ready to start working.
Okay.
Right. First thing I'm gonna do, turn the pump on.
Okay.
Okay. Now when I turn the pump on, the machine is gonna tell me reset not okay. You need to, every time you turn the pump on, you need to reset the machine.
Okay.
The reset is around here. So, no, you can stay there. The reset is right here on the back of the cabinet. The reason it's here is so that you would look right here. Because once you push this button, nobody ever should be in here.
Okay, yeah. Now
Okay.
we're gonna put some
This baggage
Yeah, goodbye.
is very fast, very dangerous. If there is anybody here, the reset should not be triggered.
Okay.
All right? Nobody should be in here when you work the machine.
Okay.
All right? Very important, very dangerous.
Okay.
All right?
Now we're gonna block. I'm gonna block this off already.
Put something
We're gonna put
in.
something in here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So if I push this button,
Now.
then you can see it lights up.
Uh-huh.
Nothing is happening.
Okay.
I still have to push the button over there.
Okay.
But the button is right here, so you would see that there is nobody here.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
All right, let's go take a look.
So all the time we turn pump on, but we always gotta reset the machine.
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay, something
turn the
new.
pump on,
Okay.
hit the button.
Uh-huh.
Once you hit the button, the machine will tell you to press start to take reference.
Okay.
You only need to do this one time per day if you leave the machine on.
Okay.
So you can turn the pump off and back on and back off and back on.
We're not gonna.
You don't need to take reference more than once.
Okay.
Okay.
All right? To take reference, you press the start button right here.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as I do, you will see the baggage starts moving. Okay? You can let the baggage do its thing, and in the meantime, you also need to take reference with the RAM. Okay? The RAM, this part right here.
Right.
To take reference with the RAM, you press the up pedal. All right? The up pedal is the right one. I'm going to press the up pedal, and I'm going to keep pressing it until the machine stops. Right there.
Oh, yeah,
See? I'm still holding down, nothing
right.
happens.
Right, right.
If I now let go, you can see the machine changes to stop. And you can see the color also changes to blue,
Right.
right? So now, when it says stop, that means that the machine is waiting for me.
Okay.
All right, so it's ready to go. Right? And you can also see the green pump icon and the green reference icon. If I push this button again, it's going to take reference again. Okay? Now, if I'm at the reference point where I'm at right now, I need to go up first. So I'm going to do that. Just like that. And then I need to come down. Just like that. See?
Uh-huh.
Right. Now I don't know if you noticed, but the laser was not happy about that.
Yeah, I see that.
Right. So you can see the laser now made a critical error because I haven't done it properly. If that happens, if there is something wrong with the laser and it doesn't want to do what you need it to do, you can just turn it off and turn it back on. And that you do right here. So when I'm finished, obviously this will be closed. These are the laser controls.
Okay.
Right? So I'm just going to turn it off. Wait a couple seconds and turn it back on.
Okay.
Alright? You need to initialize the laser before you can use it. I told you about that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they have to be set every time, right?
Yes.
Every time,
Every
okay.
single time. So if we go here now, then you can see all the lights on the laser.
Okay.
Now, there is 2 orange lights that I need and 1 green light before I can get started. Alright? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my program. Alright? Just so I'm going to hit the start button right here. Just like that.
Okay, so that's always the start button right there, all the time.
Yeah. So now you can see it turned red in a triangle. So if I push it again, it's going to stop.
Okay. And what's this, Janet?
That's the pump.
The
Oh, the
pump
pump.
is
So
on.
if the pump is off, then that will go dark as
okay,
well.
okay, okay.
Right?
I see, I see.
Now you can see it says stop. If I hit start, then it's going to go busy and then ready. Right?
Yeah.
Busy is while it's moving. Ready is when it's ready. So now the machine is waiting for me to push the foot pedal. So if I push the foot pedal right now, the laser still needs to be activated.
Okay.
Okay? So when I push, I need to push and hold
Okay.
until the machine stops. So I'm going to do that right there. I'm still on with my foot on the foot pedal, but nothing happens.
Okay.
That's because the laser was trying to stop me.
Okay.
And it worked.
Okay.
So now the machine, the laser
It
knows.
does analyze and
Yeah.
initialize already. Yeah.
Exactly. So now the laser knows that it can stop me if it needs to. So
Okay.
now if I let go, look what happens.
Okay.
It turns green.
But you still need the
White.
2 orange ones, right? You still need the 2 orange lights,
Okay.
don't you?
No.
No, just the green light. Take
Yep.
the 2 orange ones off. Okay.
So white and green is what you need,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
White and green is what you
And
need.
do you have to do that also every day?
Every time you turn the machine
Yeah,
on.
okay.
Because if you turn the power off
Yeah,
and
everything
turn
goes
it back on, then the machine
lose-
doesn't know what's
Right,
going
you
on.
have to be up there again.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now that the machine is ready and the laser is ready, I can press and hold to bend my part.
Okay.
Just like that.
Okay.
Mm.
And now we
That
got a
part,
working machine.
that part is bending? Is that what you?
Yeah, so what we just set up it manually
Yeah.
is what we're doing right now.
Okay.
So we're bending 120 inches of 60 thousandths at 90 degrees at a 5-inch increment. So you
That's
can see
nice.
right now,
Yeah.
that's about 5 inches away. And you can see if I bring it closer, I'm gonna bring it to 2 inches. Then you can see that the machine is
Yeah,
level.
level.
So I can use this and butt it up against it just like that. Right?
Okay.
Now obviously there's one finger here and one finger there because
It's a lot, it was supposed to be a longer day.
I told the machine that I'm bending 120 inches.
So it's spreading out.
Yeah. So if I change that to, for example, 4 inches, just like that, then the machine will automatically know that and change it. So if I now hit the start button, there we go.
Okay.
So now
So you work much close,
I
more
can
close.
bend my 4-inch piece.
Okay.
And you can see, yeah, did you see it was still busy? That's because the crowning was working. It was bringing it back down because it doesn't need to be that high to bend a small little piece compared to a very
That big one,
Right.
more wider.
Okay.
So now I can push this against it, just like that. I don't even have to hold it. I can just hold it just like that. There we go.
What do you set it at, but before it wasn't, you put the C2 and the C1, right? You bottom it together, right?
I
To
didn't
set the-
do that. The machine did that for me.
Okay,
The machine did it for me. But you can do that manually as well.
okay.
So you can tell the machine, bring Z to minus 35, for example, and bring Z2 to minus 30. There. If I hit start right now, then they're gonna go both to the left.
Mm.
And I can have them go both to the right, or spread them out, or bring them together. I can do whatever I
So
want with this.
they're 5 inches apart.
Yes.
Or-
Yeah. The center of them is 5
Yeah,
inches.
yeah,
over.
yes, yes. But you have to put it in there though.
Yeah, you have to tell it.
Yeah, okay.
But when I changed the workpiece, when I change it right here from 4, for example, to 5 inches, now it's gonna
Graba para allá,
automatically
ronchar.
give me. Yeah.
Oh,
You see, so it wants you to work in the middle,
Yeah.
and that's important too. You have to work from the middle outward,
Oh, okay.
because then you're putting equal load on each cylinder, and that's also important for the longevity of the machine. Okay, so if I hit the start button right now, it's gonna go back to the middle.
Okay, so now say we're doing a 10-foot piece.
Right.
10-foot.
Yeah, so
You
if
go
I
back to machine, it's to workplace.
I'm gonna go back to workpiece,
Say 10,
Go
120, okay.
120, and now you can see
Oh,
it
now they did it.
automatically went where it needed to go.
Okay, so yeah, there you go.
There's a-
That's cool, that's nice.